One of the big things that we really are passionate about at Christians in Sport is to help people as they start university to carry on reaching the world of sport for Christ at university. And then as you finish university and moving on into jobs, work, whatever that looks like, going abroad, staying local, into ministry, but to continue the mission of reaching the world of sport for Christ. All of you will have faced that either going to uni, and then many of you will be facing that now in the coming years ahead. It's great to have James with us. James, thanks for joining us. James is at Cardiff Uni, rugby player. James, you're in your second year now.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell us what it was like for you before going to university. How did you feel? And did you get any kind of advice before you went to university?
Yeah, so I was really keen to make a good start at uni, but obviously I was quite nervous. But there was a guy who I know who did rugby at Durham, and he was really encouraging. He was called Ben Marsden. He was gave me some really good advice, how to get stuck in from the start. So speaking to the social sec before any socials, just set your marker down. And his advice was maybe at socials don't drink at all. And I thought I'd try to follow that advice when I started. So.
How did it go?
When I arrived at uni, it was at pre-season. I was staying with some third years, and I just remember wanting to go home. They were just speaking about drugs and drink and girls, and I was just wow. And I hadn't told anyone at this point that I was a Christian, so I was sort of trying to just fit in and being I just don't want to be here.
Okay.
But then as pre-season went on, before the first social, I was just I have to tell the social sec before the social, otherwise I just know I'll get dragged into things I don't want to be doing.
How did you feel then, knowing that moment was coming around the corner? You had to speak to the social sec. Socials were happening even during pre-season. How did you feel before speaking to him, and how did that conversation go?
So I was very nervous. I was panicking what he might say, if he'd be just get out of here, go home. But then as soon as I spoke to him, I just felt a massive relief, and it was so much easier than I thought it would be. He was just yeah, cool, we'll think of alternatives for you to do. So.
Okay. All right, the nervous alternative game suddenly arrived.
Okay, so term kind of went on then, you're training with the squad, and then you've gone through first social tour, your initiation. So just tell us briefly some of what that was like.
Yeah, so we also the second year's just bought a chicken from the supermarket, just threw it up in the air and was play rugby with a chicken. So there we were, playing rugby on this, public field with, a raw chicken, so...
Yeah. So, as a Christian then, when you hear that that's going to happen, or you know that's what initiation might be like, why on earth would you ever go there?
I'd seen how the boys sort of didn't respect those people who didn't go to socials or hadn't done initiation, and I just thought, I want to be part of the rugby club, and to be really part of it, but I didn't want to do everything they were doing. So I wanted to, be part of it, but stand out. So I came, I spoke to the social sec again before initiation, and was can I do alternatives? And to be honest, the alternatives were probably worse. Drinking double cream and stuff, and obviously it was freezing cold and everyone else was drunk, so they were fine, but I was just, I was suffering.
How did they react? How did the boys react?
Yeah, I think initiation was the first time everyone sort of realised that I was a Christian. Before, it was at the socials they sort of half realised, but initiation it was massive, and people were shocked and oh, you really you want to stick to your guns and stuff. And then just something that came out of it, just this guy who I didn't really know very well was a fresher. He just came up to me later on and was just you've inspired me not to drink. And I was what? I didn't know this kid at all. And he was asking loads of questions. Then off the back of it, he just wanted to come to church. So I was it just made it so worth it in the end.
Yeah, fantastic. Fast forward then, you get into the first team squad for Cardiff Uni, and you're training ahead of the Varsity, which is a pretty big deal for Cardiff Uni. It's against Cardiff, against Swansea. So that's what everyone trains towards, is to play in that. You were in the running for the starting place of hooker for the first team in the Varsity year, Cardiff Arms Park. 3 days before, you get a conversation with the coach, and he actually says that you're not in the first team Varsity game, you're going to get dropped to the Freshers Varsity match. But it actually involved one of your mates, didn't it? Tell us a little bit about that situation.
Yeah, so I have a mate, he's also a Christian, but he didn't really come to the socials at the start, but then slowly been getting involved, and he was basically going to be starting Freshers Varsity. But then I got dropped from the first team, which meant he got dropped from the Freshers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was part of the Christian sport group with you?
Yeah.
How did he take it?
So it was like quite surprising. Like we're just like good mates, and yeah, he actually gave me his kit because I had none of the Freshers training kit, and he was just like, take mine, I'll be there supporting you. It's cool. So yeah.
Amazing. Didn't he make a banner with your name on?
Yeah. It's actually on the screen.
There you go.
Yeah. And he was there supporting me the whole way, so that was just like so encouraging. I'm like, yeah.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. So as you look back on that first year that you had then, you think back to the advice which Ben gave you and then how you tried to put that into practice. Why do you think that we kind of collectively as Christians in sport try and help and equip people who are about to go to university to live as a Christian in sport?
I think it's like massive, because I think without that advice, I would have either stopped playing rugby completely at uni or just got involved in things like I wouldn't want to. So just standing out from the start, I think is so important, because yeah, you get those times when you're like, this is horrible, but you can see through like you have experiences and think that's all worth it, and like that's the only way you're gonna really stand out for Jesus. And yeah, just I think those first few weeks were just like the basis for being able to be a Christian in sport at uni.
Absolutely fantastic. It's so encouraging, really challenging as well for us. Last question, how's it gone in the second year now off the back of that first year?
So yeah, like second years, it's been great. Like there's so much encouraging stuff that I think came off the back of being a fresher. Yeah, so about 15 of the boys came to the Christians in Sports quiz, which was just like so cool. And then the week later, that we had a story event in Cardiff, and I was giving like my testimony, and like a few of the boys came down to that. It was on like the Cardiff Uni Twitter page. So just it was like so encouraging to like see all those like hard times last year. I could sort of actually start talking to people about Jesus this year. It's just, I think, building relationships, and like, yeah, they were keen to come to carol services. They're always chatting to me about it, and it's just like, but we're all just good mates now, so yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. So encouraging. Praise the Lord. Hey, great story.